November 7th, 1974, began as an ordinary evening in Uckfield, Sussex, a quiet town nestled in the English countryside. But inside a grand, ivy-clad house, a storm was brewing, one that would erupt into tragedy and leave a mystery that would fascinate Britain for decades. John Bingham, the seventh Earl of Lucan, once a celebrated figure of the British aristocracy, would vanish that night, leaving behind death, suspicion, and questions that no one has ever been able to fully answer. Lord Lucan was a man of contrast. He was charming, charismatic, and accustomed to a life of wealth and privilege. Yet beneath the veneer of sophistication, his life was unraveling. Gambling debts had mounted to alarming levels, placing him under pressure from creditors and threatening the comfortable life he had long taken for granted. His marriage to Elizabeth, known to friends and family as Bunny, was strained, frayed by his absences, frustrations, and increasingly reckless behavior. In the weeks leading up to that November night, the tension in the Lucan household had reached a breaking point. On the evening in question, the household was in disarray. Sandra Rivett, the nanny, was performing her usual duties, tending to the children and attending to the domestic affairs that held the home together. But that night, everything changed. What began as a domestic dispute escalated into a confrontation that would end in tragedy. Eyewitness accounts suggest that Lord Lucan, in a moment of panic or rage, attacked Sandra Rivett. She was found dead shortly thereafter, the victim of an assault that would shock the nation. Bunny, fearing for her own life, had locked herself in a bedroom, her screams echoing through the house as she attempted to summon help. And Lord Lucan? He disappeared. He vanished without a trace. The police arrived swiftly, responding to the urgent calls from within the house. Bunny, in a state of shock, recounted what she had seen and heard, her testimony painting a picture of chaos and terror. She described hearing Sandra's screams, the struggle, and then silence. When she emerged, her husband was gone. The notion that an aristocrat, a man of status and means, could simply vanish into thin air seemed inconceivable. Yet that is exactly what had happened. A nationwide manhunt began. Law enforcement agencies across the United Kingdom mobilized to find him. Border checks were intensified, airports and ferry terminals scrutinized, every lead pursued with urgency. Rumors spread rapidly. Some claimed he had fled abroad, taking a clandestine route to Europe, or even as far afield as South America or Australia. Others speculated that he had taken his own life, choosing to end his existence rather than face arrest and the ignominy of a trial. Sightings were reported, each one more tantalizing than the last. A man matching Lucan's description in Paris, another in Rome, someone else in a remote English village. None of these sightings were ever confirmed. The press seized the story with relentless fervor. Newspapers across the country ran daily updates, detailing the investigation, the manhunt, and the life of the man at the center of it all. Headlines screamed of scandal, murder, and disappearance, feeding the public's fascination with aristocracy, crime, and mystery. Lucan was transformed from a mere suspect in a tragic murder into a symbol, a legend, and an obsession. Every unverified report, every anonymous tip, became another thread in the web of speculation. Decades passed. Witnesses aged, records accumulated dust, and yet the questions remain. Lord Lucan was declared legally dead in 1999, 25 years after he vanished. Yet this legal declaration did little to quell public curiosity. In the popular imagination, he was alive, somewhere. The man who had once been a fixture of the British aristocracy had become a ghost, a phantom that haunted the national consciousness. His disappearance was no longer merely a crime story. It was a mystery that refused to be solved. The relation with Lord Lucan is understandable. His story combines elements that are universally compelling: wealth, privilege, scandal, and the unknown. He was a man who had everything and lost it all, a figure of both intrigue and horror. The murder of Sandra Rivett added a grim reality to the tale, while his vanishing transformed it into a puzzle that continues to baffle investigators, journalists, and amateur sleuths alike. People are drawn to the story not only for the facts but for the questions it raises. Did he escape? Did he die shortly after fleeing? Did he live out his life in hiding, watching the world continue without him? Over the years, hundreds of alleged sightings have been reported. A man in a small village in Ireland, a stranger in a cafe in South America, a recluse in a London suburb. None were ever confirmed. Each report only added to the legend. Scholars, journalists, and true crime enthusiasts have pored over the details, re-examining evidence, interviewing witnesses, and theorizing endlessly. Each generation rediscovers the story and adds to the speculation, ensuring that Lucan's name remains alive in the public mind. Yet the mystery is more than just a tale of crime. It is a story about human vulnerability, about the fragility of reputation, and about the lengths a man might go to when confronted by desperation. Lord Lucan's life, though cloaked in privilege, was marked by pressures and flaws that ultimately led to catastrophe. His disappearance highlights the tension between public perception and private reality, between the life a man projects and the life he truly leads. The unanswered questions surrounding his fate serve as a mirror, reflecting our collective fascination with the unknown, with escape, and with the consequences of our choices. Even today, the legend of Lord Lucan persists. Books have been written, documentaries produced, and films dramatized, each attempting to capture the story, yet none able to resolve the central mystery. Discussions in pubs, debates on television, and internet forums all continue to speculate on his fate. Some argue he crossed the channel and started anew. Others believe he lived in London in anonymity. There are those who think he never survived the night, that his disappearance was a final tragic act, but all remain speculation. What remains undeniable is the impact of his disappearance. The murder of Sandra Rivett remains a grim fact, a life cut short, a family devastated. The effect on Elizabeth Lucan was profound. She lived the rest of her life with unanswered questions, haunted by both grief and the unknown. The aristocracy whispered, the nation debated, and the mystery grew. In the absence of certainty, Lucan became more than a man. He became a symbol of vanishing, of secrecy, of the enduring power of a question without answer. Lord Lucan exists now primarily as a story, as legend. His life, his actions, his disappearance are studied not just for the crime he is suspected of committing, but for the aura of mystery he left behind. He is a reminder that some stories cannot be neatly concluded, that some people leave a mark precisely by their absence. The Vanished Earl of Lucan challenges the notion of closure, presenting a puzzle that has endured through decades, capturing the imagination of the public, and reminding us that human lives are as fragile as they are complex. And so, the story continues. The Vanished Earl, the aristocrat who disappeared into the night, remains a phantom of history, a question mark in the annals of British crime. He may have escaped justice, he may have died alone, or he may still walk somewhere, unseen, unknown, untouchable. What is certain is that his disappearance has become legend, a tale told and retold, whispered and speculated upon, and studied for what it reveals about human nature, privilege, desperation, and the enduring allure of a mystery. In the end, Lord Lucan's story is not just about a man who vanished, it is about the questions he left behind. It is about the fascination with the unknown, with what cannot be explained, with the thin line between life and legend. He vanished, and in doing so, he created a story that will never end. A man who may have lived, who may have died, but who will forever exist in the public imagination as the Earl who disappeared. An enduring enigma, a cautionary tale, and a mystery that refuses to be solved.